to be with you and share the news with you, although we have serious issues to discuss today. We actually do have a constitutional crisis taking place in this country right now, folks, and that is not hyperbole. I'm quite serious about that. We're going to get into that. Also, I've got some really good news on some whistleblowers from the FBI. You're gonna love this. Deals with Hunter Biden and people getting promoted that should be promoted that were penalized before. But before I get into that, have to mention my sponsor. That's right, MyPillow, mypillow.com/lumberjack. I always tell people, actually, if you're ordering, just call the 800 number. Give those people who work the phones, give them work. 1-800-568-2865. Again, that's 1-800-568-2865. I'm just a big believer in going back to, I guess, doing business the way we used to do business. I know the internet's great and everything, but the big deal right now, Mike was on the show yesterday. Some of you were there. You saw this. He is running exclusive for us, the spring sheet sale. $29.98 for queens, $34.98 for kings on the percale sheets. I mean, he gets all his cotton from the Nile River over in Egypt. It's some valley, this long staple cotton. I don't know what it is, but folks, do you want to sleep like Donald Trump? I mean, then get some sheets from Mike Lindell, Giza sheets, percale sheets. This is Donald Trump's favorite product. Okay, so go get some. By the way, I'll tell you that later. But again, the number is 1-800-568-2865. I actually have some other news there, but let's go on to this. There is, folks, right now, and I want to get into this a little bit. There is a judicial coup going on, a true constitutional crisis in the making. Chief Justice Roberts further exacerbated that problem yesterday. I'm going to pull from the Gateway Pundit on this report here, but radical leftist judges wage all-out war against President Trump and the nation. Folks, let me ask this question to my lovely chat. Again, please smash that like as you come in. Do chat in with where you're from and answer this question. How many legal challenges have been filed since Donald Trump came into office? Now, I read about this. I talked to you guys about this before we did a live stream. The left was prepping this before Donald Trump came in, and somebody guessed 120. That number is getting close, but not quite right. Yes, it is over 100. It's certainly over 50. But I talked about this beforehand because Mark Elias and his group was all over this. Brian, you would think 15 would be a lot. The actual number is 129. 129. To put that in perspective, folks, Donald Trump is the 47th president of the United States. Take the prior 46 administrations. Okay? This is more legal challenges than have been done in all prior administrations. 129 filed in 2 weeks. Now, that's one thing to have these challenges filed. It's a completely different thing for judges to go along with this and try to strip the presidency of its guaranteed constitutional authority through Article 2. So 129, and look, Chief Justice Roberts stepped in it the other day. Now, you do realize, folks, if you just go back to when Biden was president, right? And there was the student loan, and then he just ignored that. Okay, and then we had all these other, and then AOC and others were calling for judges to be impeached. They were calling to pack the Supreme Court. They were calling for all these radical initiatives simply because the Supreme Court wouldn't go with them on all these decisions. But the real problem right now is these district courts. Did you know how many? Here's another question for you and my lovely audience, because I want you all to be educated on this. How many district court judges, federal district court judges, are there in the United States of America right now? Give me a number. I'm curious how many people know this one. And this is absolutely wild. So you have people like Barry Howell, you have people like James Boasberg, you have all these, and then you can go back to the Trump trials before he was elected. Judge Mershon, and so on. Some 300, 1,000, 200. You guys are so low on this number. It is just wild. I just found this out today myself. I had to look this up. 900. You'd think, well, 900, that's a lot of judges, right? Okay, that's a lot. Eagle Eyes is close. He's at 4,000, or she. Eagle Eyes could be either. But, I know here in my audience, you're probably not they, them, or anything. So it's 5,000. 5,000 district court judges in this country. Now, put that in perspective. 5,000, that's 100 per state. Is there any need for 100 district court judges for every state? Do we really need that litigious of a society? Okay. Some say it's 5,000 too many. I think we need courts to decide things. I don't know what the proper number is, but come on, 5,000. And then they're trying to defy the will of a president who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, who is tasked with heading the executive agencies, who is tasked with enforcing our border laws. All right, let's get back to this. Since returning to the White House on January 20th, 2025, President Donald J. Trump has been met with an unprecedented onslaught of legal challenges from far-left activist judges and groups determined to sabotage his second term in power. Appearing on The War Room with Steve Bannon, Josh Hammer, senior counsel for the Article 3 Project, recently warned that what America is witnessing is not just judicial activism, it's an outright judicial insurrection. This is similar to how the communist left attacked President Trump using a cadre of radical activist judges his first time in office. Except today, they have now supercharged the process. Again, folks, 129 legal challenges filed in 2 months, more than all other presidential administrations combined. Not even 2 months in office, these radical extreme judges continue to coordinate their efforts and wreak havoc on the Trump administration and the United States. Do you believe, folks in my audience, that this is not coordinated, like these judges aren't talking to each other? Do you believe that they're truly judicially independent? How many of you believe that? I mean, I do not see how that could be the case. So far, the Supreme Court has failed to shut down the lawlessness of these far-left activists. In fact, on Tuesday, going back to Chief Justice John Roberts, we saw him siding with these radical communists and lecturing Donald Trump on his response to the complete lawlessness. Democrats and the radical communist judges are tearing apart the country, and Roberts is attacking President Trump. What is going on? Josh Hammer said, let me just lay the scene briefly here. What we're seeing is not judicial activism, Steve. I use the words very carefully there. I mean, this is a full-on judicial insurrection going back to the very first days of this administration in power. By the way, those of us with a long enough memory to remember the first Trump administration, this is nothing new. And that's a great quote because he talks about those of us having a long enough memory. Folks, I was talking with this on the stream last night with my friend George, but with the way news breaks and the flooding the zone of all the breaking news, we don't dig into these stories. People just have such short attention span. They're always looking for the new news. This right here, what I'm discussing today, folks, this is the news. Okay, this constitutional crisis, do you all get this? This is the news. Okay, I know Tesla dealerships are burning, and yes, that exposes the radical leftists and all of that. And maybe I'll do a video on it because it'll draw more people to the channel. But this right here is the news. This. I just hope you all get this. This is the biggest problem we are facing right now in the country. There's nothing even close to this. Okay? Hey, Becca from Washington State. Good to see you on. Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm making myself clear here. This is the news story right now. We have a tyranny of judges trying to take over our Constitution. Instead, what they're supposed to do is actually uphold and defend the Constitution. They are supposed to look at laws that Congress makes and determine whether or not they are unconstitutional. Everything that violates the will of the Constitution of the United States is repugnant and null and void. All right. Now, do me a favor. Please smash that like. A bunch more of you on. Let's get this stream out to people. All right. The first Trump administration from 2017 to 2021 faced, by my count, I believe it was 65 so-called nationwide injunctions, which, by the way, is more than the first 44 presidents in the United States combined. Literally in half in all of American history, okay? So again, we saw that in the first administration. We saw all these, but now we're at 129. So we saw it in the first Trump term with 44, with the 44 previous presidents, there were 65 nationwide injunctions, and that was more than the first 44 presidents. It's unreal. They basically picked up in January, just last month, as if they hadn't lost a beat over the past 4 years, whether it's a judge in Washington State or Ohio or DC or Florida or Hawaii. The notion that you can issue a TRO, a temporary restraining order, and thereby try to bring a federal executive branch policy and executive order to a halt, it's completely anathema. It's bat crap crazy. That's not how the separation of powers works, folks. So you're going to hear the talking heads right now on the mainstream media, and you're going to have to educate your friends, neighbors, relatives on this, because they're going to be talking about, well, wait now, there's separation of powers. And so how do they do this? They have to file with the courts, which then goes to the next level court and the next level court. Stop. Just stop them, because Article 2, okay, I'm going to read you the exact wording of this, folks, because you need to get this. The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and together with the vice president chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. And it goes on to the election process. Section 2, the president shall be commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states when called to the actual service of the United States. He may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices. In other words, he may inquire. He doesn't have to inquire. It's his decision. That's why we elect them. People like, breathe, brother. I'm worked up, folks. I'm telling you, our system of government only works when the people in their individual functions of government follow the original intent of the Constitution. I don't need to hear this living, breathing document crap anymore. I mean, they run around, oh, it's a living, breathing. No, it is not. It was written with true intent, okay? It'd be like trying to change the 10 Commandments. Well, Neil, they didn't really mean, please. The president, vice president, and civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment or conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Okay, that's the remedy to remove them. To remove Trump. And they couldn't pass that bar before. And so now they run around. Well, in this I did this whole breakdown with Stephen Miller yesterday. If you didn't get that video, I did that one last night. This is the same thing. And I gotta say another thing here, folks. Thank you so much for supporting Mike Lindell. I mean, literally, we have an attorney general in the state of Minnesota who is a member of Congress, who's a Muslim, who apparently, from all I can read, beat his woman, okay? Keith Ellison. And he is actually going after Mike Lindell's 3 charities. Charities that Mike Lindell gave his own money to. So you have prosecutorial and judicial activism taking place against not only Donald Trump, but all those who would support him. Okay, so that's what's going on with Mike Lindell right now. And you guys, he ran that special, and you guys really were wonderful to him yesterday. So thank you, because I really do appreciate Mike. I've traveled with him before. He's really a nice guy. I mean, he goes a mile a minute, but he's running those sheets, $29.98 for Percale sheets. And again, you've got to call the 800 number. You can't just enter my promo code. Somebody tried that yesterday, just real quick. I'll be right back to the news, but just so you understand, somebody tried to use my promo code yesterday and it didn't work. They said the sheets were $99.98 instead of $34.98. You have to either call the 800 number, which is 1-800-568-2865, and if a mod's on, they can post that, or go to mypillow.com/lumberjack. But I always just say, use the 800 number, 1-800-568-2865. And they just called me this morning because you're such a great audience. Dan Bongino obviously is no longer doing his show. And they have these 4 boxes for Steve Bannon, Gallagher, Lindell, and Dan Bongino. And they called me this morning and they said, Neil, can you get us a picture because we want to replace Dan Bongino's box with Lumberjack Logic. That's how good you guys are to Mike. So thank you. I mean, you can get shirts there. You can get everything there. I mean, he's got so many products. Go over and support him instead of some woke tards who don't like you, honestly. All right, back to this. Activist Judge Chutkin ruled last week that state attorney generals can access information about Doge employees working to cut waste and fraud in government. Chutkin put a target on the backs of these genius kids so violent leftists could pursue them on the streets of America. What a horrible woman. Now look, would she put in an order to say that CIA agents needed to be outed in their areas, FBI agents, those types of things? No, but Doge employees, oh yeah, we've got to out them. This is the same thing going on. Did you guys know that Elon Musk, the Tesla owners, they doxed the Tesla owner. So if you own a Tesla, they're doxing you. And then they use as their little cursor on their site, Molotov cocktails, which they've been chucking at Tesla dealerships, charging stations, and whatnot. It's not only judicial tyranny, we are seeing a complete tyranny of the woke left that got pounded into the sand in the last election. Because on all these 80-20 issues, like immigration, like the trans in sports and all this, who wants, I've got daughters, I don't want men playing in women's sports. It's ridiculous. When I was in... would have been in high school. I was at a Youth for Christ event, and we were doing just like a co-ed volleyball thing, okay? Just playing volleyball. Now, I get kind of competitive. I don't know about you out there, especially you guys, but yeah, I get a little competitive. I just want to win. So, it was bump, set, and I just went up and hammered that volleyball. And there was a gal, her first name was Jenny. I'll just tell you her first name. I don't want to, she's kind of short, a little smaller gal. I hit that ball so hard, and it smacked her right in the face. Knocked her right to the ground. She had a bloody nose. I'm telling you, I couldn't even play after that. I felt so sick to my stomach that I had done that, and I wasn't trying to. I mean, I'm just playing volleyball, but my competitive nature will take over, and I just want to win. And, so I had to okay, so again, they are losing it on these people. So, crazed American-hating Judge Judge Beryl Howell blocked President Trump from banning far-left law firm Perkins Coie from all government businesses and buildings. Perkins Coie was central in the scam to take down President Trump in his first term in office with the Russia collusion, Russia-Putin hoax, folks. So, Mark Elias was at Perkins Coie. He's not there anymore, okay? But this is... now you're saying he can't block certain people and can't block their security clearances? What is this? And especially when they're, it just blows my ever-loving mind. Today alone, 4 federal judges ordered Elon Musk to reinstate USAID workers, Trump to state disclose when, where, the flights left with the terrorists. Reinstatement of transgender to the military. Now we're saying the commander-in-chief can't even be the commander-in-chief. And by the way, the judge who said, I'm going to pull this up for you right now. The judge who made this, because I just reposted it on my X account. If you're not following me on X, please make sure you do. My handle is @Neil, Neile Johnson, over there on X. But listen to this. The judge who made the decision about transgenders in the military. So again, now we're saying that the commander-in-chief of the military can't be the commander-in-chief and put together the best fighting force. Okay? Why my X isn't pulling up on my computer now, but it's not. Anyhow, why is this not? Anyways, the judge, and I'm trying to remember her name. I was going to pull that up for you. But the judge that did this, guess what? Guess what they are? Is there any possibility of judicial bias here? Okay. Yes, trans. First LGBTQ, or no, LGBTQ, not, I don't think they're trans, they're LGBTQIA plus to the fourth power of the ninth dimension and realm. Yeah. That's, I wanted to pull up that picture for you, but maybe it'll come up later because it's just not, something went wrong. X isn't pulling up. Somebody else, oh, they're pulled up. Okay. So again, here's me on X, just so you know. It's just at Neil E. Johnson. But if you go there, I'm going to pull up a picture and just show you this quick. There you go. Anna Rees, if I'm pronouncing that right, okay, confirmed as first LGBTQ federal judge in D.C. This is her claim to fame. Again, and this is the one who says that Trump cannot stop the recruitment of transgenders in the military. I'm not even kidding you. Well, by the way, in Minnesota, my state, Republican, is it a state rep or state senator? I can't remember. In fact, I actually called one of my friends in the legislature and asked him about this guy because I'd never met him. But he was, I have real questions on this whole case, but because it was a sting operation, but he answered the call to go meet with a 16-year-old gal. I have no qualms with arresting him for that, if that's the case. If you're soliciting minors, you get out of there. Just get just an Eichhorn. That's it. Thank you. Anyways, I was talking to my friend about him, and they had actually there were 4 legislators who were at a hockey game the other day, and he said, I saw him and I saw something in his eyes, and I was going to ask him a question about what was going on in his life, and I didn't. And he said, I really feel bad that I didn't. Anyhow, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. Yeah, Eichhorn in Minnesota. So if that's the case, if they've got the goods on him, I'm fine. Get him out of there. He's from Grand Rapids, actually, which is up by me. All right, back to this, though. I don't want to get sidetracked to Minnesota. Judge James Boasberg is the one ordering Trump to bring plane loads of murderers, rapists, and thugs back to the United States, right? So this again, now I want you to think about this. As bad as this all is, and this is, again, folks, this is not hyperbole. This is the constitutional crisis. This is the constitutional crisis. Judges trying to run amok over the executive branch. That's the constitutional crisis. Okay? I mean, and this is where they're getting it wrong. What do you think most Americans think about James Boasberg, or Judge Boasberg? What's his first name? Is it James? I can't remember now. Yeah, it is James. James Boasberg. So what do you think most Americans think about James Boasberg telling President Trump that plane loads full of Tren de Aragua gang members need to be turned around and flown back to the United States? Do you think most Americans are for James Boasberg's idea, or do you think they're against it? Serious question for the chat. Because I 100% believe that they are against that, and I don't think that's going to play out well. So there's a Just Security website, and you can see all 129 of these challenges. According to Elon Musk's Grok AI, historical analysis suggests that fewer than 10 presidents before Trump faced direct personal legal challenges. A conservative estimate, accounting for documented cases and likely unreported minor lawsuits, might place the total number of legal challenges, broadly defined as lawsuits, impeachment efforts, or significant court disputes, against all pre-Trump presidents around 20 to 30 over 227 years. This figure is speculative, as no definitive tally exists and pales in comparisons to Trump's legal entanglements. And the left will tell you that's because Trump has done more wrong. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's because they are attacking him more. Do you remember? I mean, you go back to Bill Clinton, Barack Obama. Barack Obama kicked the press out, and they didn't say boo about it. Donald Trump kicks one reporter from the AP out who won't recognize the Gulf of America, and they have a literal conniption fit and call him a Nazi. I honestly believe here's the real crazy part of all this. It almost seems like what they are doing is trying to push Trump to the point where he does not follow through with court decisions. And then they can scream he's a dictator. It almost seems like that's the end goal. Do you guys think I'm way off on this? But it almost seems like they are filing all these erroneous decisions so that Trump will have to defy them, and then they can say that he's a dictator. Do you guys think I'm right or wrong on this? Also, look at what they're doing with the domestic terrorism against Tesla and Elon Musk. And it seems like what they're doing there, again, is to spur and create some action in which they can say that he's a dictator. I don't see what else this... And now Chief Justice Roberts is lecturing Trump? Give me a freaking break. President Trump, by the way, just fired 2 Democrat commissioners of the Federal Trade Commission. These are unaccountable people, man. This bold action challenges the core thesis of the administrative state that technocrats should be politically insulated, okay? And they're never politically insulated because they got their own political biases. The only thing they're insulated from, apparently, according to these judges, is the fact that they should be canned. They are unelected. And then they're supposed to have lifetime appointments. And you literally have people on the news arguing about separation of powers. This is where it gets really freaking weird. About separation of powers and saying that the administrative state needs to defy the president. And acting like it's one of the branches. It is one of the branches. Folks, the administrative state, the agencies that run, that are part of the federal government, here's Civics 101, these agencies are part of what branch? Are they part of the agency branch? Are they part of the administrative branch? What branch of governments are these agencies a part of? I mean, if you're going to talk about separation of powers, let's at least define what branch they are a part of. What branch? Because they need to defy the president. They need to defy the executive branch. So what branch? Yeah, they're part of the executive freaking branch. The executive branch. Exactly. Who said that? Oh, God, I got to give her credit. Colby Myers. Colby, thank you. They are part of the executive branch. So by virtue of being part of the executive branch, who oversees the executive branch? Who? Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States, oversees the executive branch. And they're saying that the executive branch needs to resist the executive branch, acting like Donald Trump isn't the executive branch. The reason he needs to run it is because the president of the United States is supposed to be elected. Now, we've seen how some crazy things have gone on, but I'm just telling you that it's because they are supposed to answer to an elected official. And now we literally are so skewed and people don't understand civics at all. So you have these liberal commentators on their news shows acting like the federal agencies are their own branch. Yes. Unfortunately, they have become that. That's why we call it the fourth branch. God help us all. Oh, but people, go talk to people in the street. People, this is why you need to, I'm always telling you, go out and talk to people at the gas pumps, the grocery stores, wherever you are, please just talk to them. Even if it's outside of your comfort zone, just go talk to these people and ask them some basic civics questions. And the fact that these executive agencies need to be answerable to an elected official, because otherwise it's an entrenched bureaucracy that we can never get rid of. Man, living. Anyway, smash that like if you would. Man, I'm doing my work this morning. Anyways. And challenges the incredibly errant 1935 Supreme Court case Humphrey's Executor, which helped create the deep state. That from Eric Schmidt. Okay. By the way, Elon Musk and Doge, they are cleaning up the dead people database at the Social Security Administration. For the past 2 weeks, at Social Security has begun a major cleanup of their records. Approximately 3.2 million number holders, all listed age 120 plus, have now been marked as deceased. More work still to be done. The problem with the Social Security Administration database is it's just like the voter rolls. Totally 100% needs to be cleaned up. Okay. On to the next thing. By the way, did you know this guy? Have you heard about this George Moose character? George Moose, the president of the U.S. Institute of Peace, locked himself in the building after Doge fired him and ordered him to leave. DC police eventually gained entry and removed him. This is what's crazy. These people actually believe that they are entitled to their government jobs. And they are entitled to be there forever at our expense. And we can't ever shrink the government because you can't fire these people because all these judges are telling Donald Trump he can't fire anybody. It's freaking ridiculous. Here, I'm going to get back to the Chief Justice, but I've got to give you this one first because I need some good news because I've been discussing these judges. This is the constitutional crisis. Keep educating the people. Keep educating the people. What our Constitution actually states. So that when things go down, and I'm telling you, things are going to go down, and the press is going to act like it's the end of the world and that President Donald Trump is a dictator, make sure you understand so you can educate the people. Yeah, thank you, Michelle, for posting that. Again, those sheets, $29.98 for some of the best sheets ever made. Donald Trump's favorite product, Sleep Like Donald Trump. Call MyPillow at 1-800-568-2865. Again, that's 1-800-568-2865. That's a number specific to Lumberjack, which is the code you need to get that deal. I'm serious. I went and checked it out because they're telling me, Neil, we're going to put you on the front of the MyPillow website. We need a new picture and everything because you're going to replace Dan Bongino there because my audience is so great. Anyways, you guys are awesome. Thanks. So Hunter Biden whistleblowers get promoted by Trump after the Biden era retaliation. Listen to this out of just the news. The two IRS whistleblowers, I thought it was FBI. I said that wrong at the beginning. It's IRS. I knew that too. Anyways, the two IRS whistleblowers who shed light on failures to properly investigate Hunter Biden and who were allegedly retaliated against as a result have now received promotions from the Trump administration. Remember when the left's running around telling us protect whistleblowers, protect whistleblowers? They only mean whistleblowers who say things about Donald Trump even if they aren't true. When Hunter Biden was exposed by agents in the IRS, those agents were basically persecuted, retaliated against in the agencies. I saw somebody mention Psalm 91. I swear I'm going to do something. Oh, look at this. I've got this Bible here. We're gonna read this at the end. Okay. IRS Supervisory Special Agent Gary Shapley and IRS Special Agent Joseph Ziegler will serve as senior advisors to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, just the news has learned. Rewarding merit rather than retaliating against whistleblowers is exactly how government ought to work. At long last, I'm happy that's finally what is happening for Gary and Joe. They earned these promotions through integrity and hard work for the American people. Jason Foster, the founder of Empower Oversight, which is representing the IRS whistleblowers, told just the news. The promotions were first reported by the New York Post on Tuesday morning. Okay. And again, these are people who blew the whistle on Hunter Biden and got retaliated against for it. Do me a favor. There's 1,560 of you on, 821 likes. Please just smash that like button. We will get this streamed to over 2,000 people. If the other 800 smash the like right now, I guarantee you it would be at over 2,000 on the stream. So thank you. People need this education. They really do. I'm not just saying that. I firmly believe this. Out of the American Spectator by Scott McKay, a great piece. American Spectator is a great publication. This mess is of your own making, Chief Justice Roberts. Nobody voted for judicial supremacy, and it certainly wasn't the Founding Fathers' intent. Several days back, when one of the near countless cases of judicial overreach in which partisan Democrat operatives in black robes issued absurd orders delaying presidential orders involving immigration issues or spending reforms or other changes well within the sole purview of the executive branch, made its way to the Supreme Court for review. This column discussed a piece by the Federalist John Daniel Davidson that shredded the Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett for siding with the Democrats. After noting that for procedural reasons, the specific case in question would likely still come out all right, I joined Davidson's reflection of Roberts and Barrett's from that entry. Still, This was a missed opportunity, and Davidson wasn't wrong in his fury over it. The correct ruling would have been a sharp rebuke of the district court on jurisdictional grounds and an unmistakable signal that these restraining orders are null and void. And it's time for the courts to stop granting them. It was an act of cowardice and dereliction by the Constitutional Court not to provide a clear statement of constitutional law when given an opportunity. Do better. Well, that was almost 2 weeks ago, and things have only gotten worse. The number of absurdly partisan judicial orders purporting to thwart the Trump administration's executive actions, whether deporting illegal aliens, scrubbing the federal budget, laying off superfluous or unproductive federal employees, or other items that involve things purely within the purview of Article 2 powers under the Constitution has only grown. We read Article 2, okay? So we've had a federal judge order President Trump to rehire 30,000 federal employees he laid off. Let me say that again, folks. The President of the United States, who has control of the executive branch, laid off 30,000 federal employees. And a judge ordered him to rehire them. Now, I don't know if you guys know about President Bill Clinton's term, but there was a revolution that took place in the United States Congress, and it involved something called the Contract with America. It was headed up by Newt Gingrich. Bill Clinton was forced into signing welfare reform, tightening the federal budget, and actually ended up laying off, I think it was around 300,000 federal employees. I might be off on the number there. Don't quote me. It was a lot. They shrunk the federal government. Bill Clinton, a Democrat president, through being forced to work with the United States Congress and Newt Gingrich with the Contract with America, ended up, 389,000. Thank you. Is that the number? Has everybody else got clarification on that? I'm not going to look it up right now. That's the tough thing about not having a producer. You're just doing the show all yourself and trying to pull this stuff together, and then you get off on little tangents and you say things and you're like, what was that number? But somebody said it was 389,000. Somebody else can look it up too. That's you, my audience, get to help produce this show. All right. And here we have a federal judge telling Donald Trump that he needs to rehire 30,000. Give me a break. And over the weekend, one of the silliest and most corrupt judges in America, James Boasberg, ordered the turning around of those planes. Let's understand that Tren de Aragua, a violent Venezuelan gang that has wrought terror all over America since its members were allowed to infiltrate the country, runs guns and drugs. Now, I want you to think of this because we always hear the left talking about gun control. 377,000 by Clinton. Thank you, Jan. We always hear the left talking about gun control, but they don't really want actual gun control because then they would actually prosecute gun crimes. You get this, right? And what do they not do? In fact, if you look at the pardons issued by both Obama and Biden, who did they pardon? Gun criminals. So the left is not serious about stopping gun crime because it's not the guns that commit the crime, but the criminal. So with criminals committing the crimes, it's criminals that need to be sent to jail, not guns taken away from law-abiding gun owners. Whew. This is the craziness, the lunacy that we are now dealing with, folks. I had a phone call come in. I forgot to hit the DND, do not disturb, and then it was going to a black screen for me, but I think it's probably still doing all right for you. Is it still doing all right for you? Usually it does. I don't know why the phone does this, but it goes to a black screen for me. Okay. And then, I think it's working just fine for you guys, though. I'm going to keep going unless I see otherwise. So they're running guns, they're running drugs, yet they allow them in. They just allow them into the country, okay? And elicit general mayhem in our cities has been designated, Trump designated them as a foreign terrorist organization. As such, removing members of that gang legally in the United States is a matter of presidential prerogative. And the friendly government of El Salvador, Bukele, what a wonderful dude, man. They have made themselves one of the greatest allies. And one of the things that you're seeing right now is a realignment, a complete political realignment of us looking at countries like Europe, the countries in Europe, I'm trying to say, and countries like Canada, and saying, whoa, you don't have our best interests at heart. Okay, you're basically running these huge trade problems with us. And we're going to start tariffing you. And they're freaking out. And then you have people like Bukele, and you have people like Milei down in Argentina. And what we're seeing is more alignment with the countries in South America that are willing to support the United States. So we are seeing a complete realignment in the world right now. And I think it's fascinating to watch these countries that have taken advantage of the United States and relied on us to be their military force. That's all changing, okay? That's Boasberg. I want to get off of him. Things haven't cooled down since Monday. Boasberg continues to make threatening mouse that roared noises against the administration. A U.S. federal judge has questioned why the Trump administration failed to obey his order, halting the deportation of alleged gang members. James Boasberg, the top federal judge in Washington, D.C., ordered deportation flights to be turned around on Saturday night. White House officials argued in a court filing that they did not defy the ruling. They argued in part because Boasberg's order was made orally rather than in written form. It was not enforceable, and that the planes had already left the U.S. by the time it was issued. Boasberg has ordered administration to give further details about the deportations by noon on Tuesday, or else. He has requested further details about the timing of the order under which the deportations occurred, as well as the details about the flights themselves. Boasberg's a nut job. So this is what's going on, and this is the problem right now, folks. I mean, here, I'm going to see if you guys can see this. I want to show you this. This is this guy set himself on fire, okay? This dude. It's kind of sad because he's so young. So I'm struggling because, as a Bible-believing Christian, I don't want to laugh too hard at the guy. But the flip side is it's just so ridiculous. So I want you just to look at this picture, okay? Hopefully that's showing well because I can't see because my phone's black screened on me. Okay, but this guy, here's what's wild. So this left-winger accidentally set himself on fire while throwing a Molotov cocktail at a Tesla charging station in South Carolina. And what does he have on his shirt? Did you guys notice what's on his shirt? It's Jesus walking on water. Yeah. Jesus, what? Oh, so if we're going to live like Jesus, we're going to start blowing up Tesla charging stations and costing people their jobs. And come on. And people say, well, Neil, they're firing people in the Fed. They're costing them their jobs. Yeah, because we don't have the money. This is an actual act of, they're considering it like, what is this? This can't be eco-terrorism because I thought they all wanted electric cars. This is the world we live in, people. We have mentally ill people. Again, please go check out my sponsor, MyPillow, mypillow.com/lumberjack. But I always say just call the 800 number at 1-800-568-2865. People, if you were ever going to get some of Mike's sheets, which are, I use these things. They are the best sheets ever. They are the same sheets Donald Trump uses. Donald Trump raves about these sheets, says they're his favorite product, okay? He thinks they're the greatest thing ever. Every time he gets together with Mike, he tells them about these sheets, okay? So go try it for yourself. They're $29.98 for queens, $34.98 for kings with the percale sheets. If you call the 800 number, 1-800-568-2865. Again, that's 1-800-568-2865. And order some of those percale sheets. I mean, they're amazing. And then, if you don't have a MyPillow, get one because they're the best pillows out there. Anyhow, this is, I just really encourage you people, take a general reading of the Constitution. I told you I'd do this for you. I've got to do this too. Here we go. Told you I'd read Psalm 91. We're gonna pray this over ourselves. I'm reading from the NIV. Sorry, I don't have my King James here on the desk, and I don't want to run to my room real quick. But I'm going to read you from this. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only observe with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked. If you say, "The Lord is my refuge," and you make the Most High your dwelling, no harm will overtake you. No disaster will come near your tent, for he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift up their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. You will tread on the lion and the cobra. You will trample the great lion and the serpent. Because he loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. All right, folks, keep fighting the good fight. I mean, I believe we win this, but it's going to get rocky. And all you people thinking that the economy is just going to be smooth sailing, I don't see that. I'm sorry. I know people want that, but I don't see that actually taking place here. I think we're in for some rocky roads ahead. I mean, certainly with the stock market, it's overinflated, folks. I mean, just go look up a historical average of the price to earnings ratio. Please don't take my word for it. Just go look up historical averages for price to earnings ratios on stocks and tell me this isn't inflated. Now, part of that is because they force us to buy stocks if we're going to have retirement funds, right? You put it into 401ks or IRAs. It's quite frankly, one of the reasons that I'm such a big believer in gold and silver. And you can, if you're going to get gold, please just go to Birch Gold. And you can go to birchgold.com /lumberjack there as well. I do not receive commissions. They simply pay me for views, just so you know. But you dig your well before you're thirsty, okay? Gold just closed at over $3,000 an ounce for the first time, okay? If you want to get a free info kit on gold, text the word lumberjack to 989-898. Again, that's 989-898. There's no obligation, folks. You just get useful information. They have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. One of the reasons I was looking for a new gold and silver sponsor, and I've been kind of holding out. And the reason I went with Birch Gold is because they've been around forever. They're solid, all right? So that's that. Anyways, keep fighting the good fight, folks. I love y'all. Peace out.